May of 27, they are no longer certifiable. They're 18 years old. NFPA, which governs a lot of stuff in fire, says they need to be replaced at 15. Can't afford it, so we're at 18. At year 20, they can no longer be certified, so they're gone. So we're working on the federal grant. That is in process. That has not been released yet, but we expect it this month. So we're crossing fingers that we can get that. Katie, if you can go to the next slide, I'll kind of run through that. So SCBAs are the air packs and the mask. We have a cost of $200,000. We just got a quote back from one of the manufacturers, and it came in at $147,000, which is a pleasant surprise in fire service. So that is being moved forward for the grant. I did update this. We did have 2 chances. We have 1 chance now. With the way that FEMA is operating, they're not sure where that grant's going to lie with what's going on with FEMA. Currently still sitting under FEMA, and this year it will go under FEMA, but next year is being pushed out past our certifiable date. So we've got 1 chance to go for this. So like I said, all other capital expenses are on hold until we figure this out.
Are you looking for that grant to pay in full, the 140?
Yeah, so it's a 100% grant. Matching does not necessarily help you get that grant. Now, if you're doing a fire truck for that, yes, it does, but in this case, they generally pay out 100%. The group that we're using to do this out of Northern Virginia has about an 85% success rate.
That's pretty good.
So let's cross fingers. He's seen our data, he's seen our demographics, he's seen our financials, and he's like, yeah, y'all have a pretty good shot at this. Y'all fit the bill of rural America where you don't have the resources these larger cities have. So crossing fingers.
When do you expect to hear on that?
So we hope that, well, the grant hadn't opened yet. So once the grant
that's right.
opens, it's 6 weeks to submit. The grant closes in 6 weeks, and then generally 3 to 4 months is when we hear that. And so we'll see where we land and have some decisions to make. Just crossing fingers that it comes through.
And
So
no state grants available.
they just released a state grant. Those are horribly competitive in the state of Virginia.
Okay.
I've reached out, matter of fact, that grant just was released through Virginia Department of Fire. I have reached out to our grant writer to find out, can I submit both grants at the same time? I don't know how that would work. Do we have the option of if we get one, we can not accept the other? Or once we submit, are we locked into that grant? So
Gotcha.
I've got to figure that out. They can use the exact same grant application to apply for Virginia Fire as FEMA.
Okay.
So there is a state grant, and we will go for that, but that grant, the success rate is 30 to 40% versus
wow.
the 85 for FEMA. So, but it's worth a shot if we can apply for both.
Okay.
Going through the next, none of this has changed. As I mentioned last time, we are selling our large tanker. Its useful life is here. The trailer is in 1979 along with the pump on the back of it. We can no longer get parts for that Ford motor. It's an industrial motor that no longer, you can't get the parts. So we hope to get 70 to 75,000 for that, and kind of a backup plan is if we sell that, we're not going to look for anything to replace it until we figure out this air pack thing. We may have to use some of those funds to buy air packs. That's just a decision we have to make. It's that or we're out of service. So that is still moving forward. The Cascade machine is the machine that fills the air bottles for the SCBAs. We filled a ton of bottles from the fire over in Bay Creek. It ran okay, so we're fine there. That's a quick order item. If that goes down, we can have one in the station in 2 weeks. Sheridan and Eastville have the exact same system. We can go fill bottles over there if we needed to. So we have some contingencies and backups. It's not as critical as the actual air packs. And obviously the front of the station, we'd all love to see front of the station updated. But with that being said, do we buy equipment that saves lives, or we throw a coat of paint on and new signage for 50 grand? That's
On the water tank, how many other ones are?
That's the largest in the county. That's 5,000 gallons. Our small tanker is 2,500. Sheridan has a 3,000, and Eastville has 2 tankers as well. So
This is mainly for support outside of town.
yeah, that is mainly for support outside of town. We generally use that, so in fire service, we use something called a dunk tank. We set up this big temporary pool on the ground and we draft water out. We use that tanker instead to flow water in and out of in big scenes. So we've used that twice in the last year. So, you look at need versus reality. It's twice a year we can find other solutions. And we have something called a tanker task force in the county. So if we have a large fire, we'll pull tankers all the way from Exmoor down, and we have 4 and 5 tankers cycling through, filling water in the sea. So yeah, it is primarily for outside town, but it is a backup resource for Cape Charles. If, say, we're pumping water in the middle of winter and we bust a main, we would bring tankers into town to cover that if we lost water. All right, so the fun part of the conversation for tonight. I want to preface this conversation that I am not here to ask for a ladder. I am not here to ask for money. This is bringing up a risk that we have in the town of Cape Charles. I do not have answers for you. I don't have a path forward. It's just, we've reached a point in town that we are reaching building sizes and structures, and we've got to find a solution. The ladder failing on site for Sheridan is a wake-up call for us. We do not have a ladder in the county. The next closest ladder is in Hancock. You're a minimum an hour away for a ladder. So it's a county problem as well as a town problem.
Absolutely.
So I want to make that clear. This is not a town of Cape Charles problem. It is a county-wide problem that we're going to have to come together with the county and the town to find a resolution. We are not dead set on having a ladder in town. To be quite honest, it scares the hell out of us. The training, the liability, the expense. So say we get a ladder truck for $2 million, you're looking at $30,000 to $40,000 a year just in maintenance. So it's not just the ladder truck, it's the training, it's the liability, it's the maintenance cost. So that's neither here nor there for now. That's another discussion. But just to kind of go through what spurred this, so we had the large fire in Bay Creek. We flowed, as Matt mentioned, 125 to 130,000 gallons. Everybody hears ladder, they think rescue. I'm gonna set that up and go grab somebody out the window. That's about 20 to 30% use of a ladder. The majority of the time, a ladder is being set up to get water where you need it. So when you have a ladder with a 75 or 100 foot reach, you're raising that ladder, you can swivel that ladder, and you can get water directly down on the source of the fire. So you're gonna use half the water, it would have taken us half the time as well to put that fire out from ground operations. So kind of what spurred this, and I've had people, blowing my phone up, blowing my email up, catching me on the street in the food line. What are y'all gonna do about these 65-foot story buildings coming? Go back to the previous slide. I wanna start out with, we have no position on growth. We are here to protect the town, whatever iteration that is. We are here to support Bay Creek and its continued growth and the benefits that it brings our community. It brings growth, it brings tax revenue, it brings new shops, new stores, new restaurants. But when we have that type of growth, we have to be forward-facing and forward-think of, if we build this, how do we protect it? And today, we're on that line of not having the protection we need, especially with Sheridan's ladder being out of service. That was our ladder. That's what we used as that resource. And that resource is there sometimes and they're not there the other times. We don't know. So as development evolves, public safety and planning and equipment needs to evolve with it. Our goal is simple, to align emergency response capabilities with building scale. We have building scale today as Cape Charles sits that requires a ladder. Anytime you have a commercial fire, we have a lot of commercial in the town, a ladder should be dispatched. That is typical aerial SOP. If we build higher, in this case 5 stories up to 65 feet and bigger, we need documented aerial response plans plus validated access and staging. That's not a town of Cape Charles problem, that is a county problem. We have 5 other stations that need to be involved in those discussions. So, we need a documented aerial response plan, especially for buildings like they're talking in the condos in Bay Creek. And I understand those are zoned that way from the beginning of Bay Creek. There's nothing that can be done. That's something that more than likely will be permitted and built. We just need to find a way to protect it. That's our point. Currently, the only aerial is Northampton County as Sheridan. That ladder did fail, unfortunately, unseen due to, we say age, but it had a mechanical failure. So there's some statements here. If we build denser, we need stronger water supply, hydrant coverage, clear fire lanes. If we build larger footprints, more complex sites, we need verified apparatus access, turning radius, pre-plans before occupancy. So that's going into zoning and permitting. So that's Katie and Jeff. They know what those are. So when they're looking at site plans, they know what to look for and say, yeah, we need to look at maybe adjusting this to help for fire access or emergency access. So I think that's pretty much covered by the town. That is the town's responsibility to look at these plans and say, yeah, we may need to make some adjustments. Let's work with the developer and see if we can come up with a compromise on what they've submitted versus what needs to be there for protection. Yeah. So, as many of you are aware, there's been proposed 5-story buildings in Bay Creek. We need an aerial plan for protection, and I've heard comments, well, they're sprinkler. Sprinklers help. They help suppress fire. They don't put fire out. There are instances where fire gets in walls. There's chases in buildings that are behind walls for utilities that pipes are running up and down the 5 stories. Depending on what the cause of the fire is and what's fueling the fire, a lot of times those sprinkler systems are going to suppress fire long enough for egress. That's
And they
their main
malfunction
purpose.
as well.
What's that?
They malfunction as well.
And they malfunction as well. The Kip-to-Peak Inn down here, when we had the fire down there a couple of weeks ago, their sprinkler system was out when we went down there. That would have probably helped us a lot down there. So sprinkler systems are a must, obviously, in a building of this size, but it's not the only means of putting the fire out. There's other things that we need to think about. And in this case, yes, a ladder would be good for high-level rescue, but it's also to get that elevated water stream. How do we get the water where the fire is? If if we have a fire, if our fire level's on 3, and I can't get through that with a hose, 4 and 5, there's nothing I can do. We don't have ladders that reach that tall in our trucks. So with that aerial, we're gonna be able to get to that seat of that fire, get it put out, and then we're gonna be able to get past those floors, either with a ladder or through the building, depending on how bad the fire is, to access above those if needed. So kind of looking forward, what this collaboration I'm talking about is, we needed to partner with the developer, Northampton County, and the town to align the project design with practical emergency response needs early so there are no surprises later. Let's design these buildings for safety, what that access is. They plan the buildings, that's on them. Ours is how do we access the buildings? How do we get to the people?
We all, don't forget about the harbor and the industrial area.
Well, I'm getting to that now. I got picture slides that weren't in your packet. They were a little late
Good.
delivered.
Good.
So I'll kind of start talking through, I don't want this to be focused on Bay Creek because it's not just Bay Creek. So this is a picture of the oyster farm. So if you look at the layout of this building, our only truck access is this octagon where the main parking is, and possibly the U where the oyster farm entrance is for the restaurant. Our deck guns are not going to reach the majority of that building. The height of the building, and then if we're reaching towards the back of the building, in the back of the creek, a ladder truck is the only thing that's going to reach that. We can't reach that with our deck guns from ground operations.
That's where the kitchen is.
Yep. And so we can't access the back of the building because there's no roads back there for our trucks. So that's one example. I'm going to go through a couple here in town. So I call it Heritage Acres. I know it's called something else now. Our main access is down that center. Our deck guns aren't going to reach the far ends of that building. We actually had to put extra hose in our truck just for those buildings because where we sit, it's right at 250 feet to get in the last door in the very end because we had a fire. We figured that out. We were on scene. So once again, there's an example that a ladder truck would be extremely useful. And you're looking at commercial sites and high density living. So the workforce housing we're talking about building, that's high density. Those are the type of structures that ground operations are very challenging to battle fires in. This is Vance's coming into town. These stacked buildings like this, once again, your elevation and the parapet walls on the front of the buildings, getting that arc like we need it to get the deck guns can be done, but we're not going to get the best access to get the water where we need it. Cape Charles School, I call it Cape Charles School, I don't know what it's called now with apartments. Same thing, in that center portion of that building, there's no way we could access. That's a 2-story plus building. And then to access in the center from the roof, we're not gonna put our guys on that roof if water, fire's blowing through. It's gonna be challenging to access without a ladder. Wendell's Distributing, same thing. We've got access on Fig and I forgot what street that parallels in front of that. That's our only access there. So once again, we're gonna get a third of that building with our deck guns. The rest of it, we need an aerial.
Jefferson.
Mason Street. Mason.
Mason.
Avenue.
Madison.
We have the apartments on Mason, those are 3 stories. Prime example of when a ladder's needed. We have all the commercial spaces on Mason Avenue. We can reach the front of those buildings. We can't reach the back of those buildings with the deck gun. It's a ladder truck once again. All the buildings down Strawberry. So, another area.
Ryan, in most of those apartments, is it just, there's one way out?
They have to have 2 means of egress. Now, the apartment itself, yes, you have the door leading into the hallway, but you have 2.
I'm talking about the stairways up internal
I think
into the
there's
building.
got to be 2 stairways.
Some of them,
You know, Wilson's building this too.
Wilson does not.
I'm pretty sure they do.
Doesn't
I'll check
matter.
on that, Andy, on our pre-plans, but I'm pretty sure they've got
There
2.
might be a couple that don't have it. just
Okay,
because
I
of
can
the
check
age.
that. Harbor, Town Harbor specifically, we can't reach the harbor over in Oyster Farm. We can reach the majority of that harbor with a ladder truck. As you all well know, we've had boat fires there many times over the years, either in the boatyard or in the
Was it
water.
5 years ago? We had that one, couldn't do anything with it?
Yeah, just let
Really?
it burn, yeah.
Just had to let it burn.
And we had one, 2 years ago in the boatyard over there? 2 years ago, we were lucky, got unseen. That thing was stacked like this with boats up on stands, and we were able to get in there and get that out before any of the other boats went up. Methodist Church / Town Hall, perfect example of, we only have street access. The majority of that building we can access from the ground. And then, I don't know if I've got, yeah, so we've got some in Bay Creek.
That new garage.
So in Bay Creek, as the houses get bigger, that's where our challenges come. These houses on the bay are stacked pretty close together. So when you get a fire, if we had a fire like we had in Heron Point in one of these houses on Saturday after with the winds we had, 30 and 40 miles off the bay, we're gonna lose 3 or 4 houses. There's no way around it. It's an inconvenient truth, unfortunately. Ladder trucks can get in and get in between those houses and try to get fire breaks. That's once again, it's getting the water where we need the water and being able to move that ladder and shoot downwards to get the water. Okay, if you can go back one more slide. One other thing I want to mention on these houses, and we're seeing this more in Bay Creek. If you look at some of the houses kind of down towards the bottom, they're stacking a driveway, then you're stacking a garage, and then you're stacking your house. That gun's useless. We can't get over that garage to the house on the front. There's just no way. So we have some, in those type of situations, we can get some 2.5-inch line in there and put monitors in, which are ground stands, but it's still not flowing the water a ladder truck would and getting that directional downward trajectory of the water. Coach House, another prime example. Yeah, that's self-explanatory. Murfield Bluffs, I don't know if everybody's familiar, that's a newer section over in Bay Creek.
Big houses.
They're big houses that are 20 foot off grade, off the road. So we're 20 feet up before we start the house. We're another 30 feet up probably with house.
There's one over there is pretty tall.
Yep, that's some real challenges for us over there. Once again, ladder, we have some tree canopy there that would create some challenges, but we'd have to do some pre-planning over there for that type of setup. Yeah, they're bringing some challenges in for us. So I bored you enough with pictures. Does everybody understand kind of what the use of a ladder is? Yes, rescue is part of it, but the majority of it is flowing water where you need it. Practical next steps, no consistency, reliable local aerial resource. Our priority is building a redundant, dependable aerial strategy that matches our response area. Don't have an answer for that. That's what I'm here to start saying, hey, we've got this risk. We need to start getting a group together and making these decisions as a community of how do we move forward from here? How do we close this gap that we have in our county? This is not something that we don't see elsewhere in the country. A lot of rural communities, rural counties can't afford the capital expense. They don't have the people to get the training. There's hundreds of hours of training that we have to go to operate an aerial. So there's a lot of other things that go along with just getting the truck. Looking forward to working with the developer, hopefully at Bay Creek, the town and the county, and a clear path forward. So I have some proposed next steps. We need to get a joint working session or working group in the county of all parties involved. Confirm response area needs, access points, fire lanes, and staging zones. That dictates what kind of truck we start looking for when that day comes, whoever that person is, it's a county or us. These trucks are custom. There is no standard ladder truck. They're all built for your response area. So you have to look for your needs in the response area and say, this is how we have to build this truck out. Can we, the outriggers, can we half rig where one side goes out and the other side doesn't, short rig? Is it a quint? Is it a rear mount? There's all these different types of trucks for ladders.
How thick is your concrete?
We can hold a ladder. So Andy's gonna bring up a point, I'm sure, gosh, I don't know, Paul, if you were on when we still had our ladder truck
Yeah.
here in town. In 2009, the town of Cape Charles purchased a used ladder truck. So we did have a ladder truck for either 150 or 250, I can't remember. Is it 150?
Yeah.
$150,000. We had that ladder truck for about 10 years, so we paid the town paid $150,000 for that truck. We spent $350,000 on maintaining it over the next 9 years. We finally got rid of the truck because it about bankrupt our company. The last maintenance we had on that truck was over $100,000 to have the turntable repaired. It had a crack in it. The hydraulic rams had to be fixed. It came back, broke within a day, and it needed another $100,000 of work. We said, we're done. We can't do this. So that's why we don't have a ladder truck. We've had one at one time, but just some history of our company. So
Was that new at the time?
no, it was used.
Used.
It was 12 to 15 years old when we got it.
I was gonna say,
It was worn
sounds
out
like
when we
a
got it.
Okay.
So, that goes to the point of when even a brand new ladder truck, you need to factor in 30 to 48 year just for maintenance. They have to be recertified every year. They have to go through a rigorous maintenance with the hydraulic systems.
Yeah.
These new trucks are extremely complex with sensors and lockouts and safety features that don't always play nice. So there's a lot of technology there, which is good for safety. Kind of moving down the list, we need to document our aerial response plan, which right now is Sheridan and next is Hancock. We don't have a plan really other than let's call stations and hope they show up. Confirmed water supply can support extended operations, so that's obviously American Water with Scotty. We're working with them. Obviously, the town's aware of that. Create pre-plans, so in fire service, generally we have pre-plans for commercial structures and structures over certain square feet, so large houses. We go in and ask for permission to come in the building. We draw floor plans. Those are all uploaded to a tablet, and when that officer gets on scene, they can pull the tablet up and see all the pre-plans for the building. So it's kind of a leg up in these larger buildings. And kind of the last one and kind of the crux of everything is establish a funding partnership pathway for reliable aerial solutions. So explore options for funding, dedicated public safety contributions tied to development, grants, regional agreements that ensure coverage. So I just put a footnote down here once again, not asking for a truck. 2 to 2.5 million. We're looking at 3 years if we ordered one today. That's brand new. Used on the market, they're few and far between these days. There's not a lot out in the market. Generally, when these companies buy these and build them, they hold on to them for 10 years. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Is I think, from my perspective, the next step is to get a group together with the county, the town, the developer, and the fire commission. So obviously, we would be involved. There's no other way to put this. This is a Cape Charles problem. We nowhere else in the county has the housing density, the size structures, or the number of people in town that nowhere else in the county comes close. Yeah, there's uses for aerials out in the community. Food Line is a prime example of that. Cherrystone Aqua Farms. We have commercial sites in the county that could definitely benefit from a truck. The majority of them are within the town limits. So it's a county problem, it's a town problem, it's a developer problem. I think we need to all come together and start having those discussions and find out, what do we do? What are the next steps? I don't think there's anything else around that. I think that's got everything. I hope y'all have some questions or comments or paths forward.
So on that truck, the chances of doing what we did with the new truck we have are probably slim to none to have one to where it's in production and someone backs out of the contract.
There's some options out there. I could talk to, so Sean is our rep from Matheny. He's our E1, is our manufacturer of our new truck. They have, what Matheny does, and the way we got our new truck so quick, is they put ones in production and don't sell them, and then when they come closer to completion, they start reaching out, who wants a ladder truck, this is what it is. The challenge we have with that, we do have height restrictions in our firehouse. We can accommodate 12.6, which is the majority of ladder trucks. But we've got to be cautious of what we look at if we go that route, because we're not going to be custom building for our district. So, yeah, there are some options out there. There's a truck on the market right now, a 2021, I think it's $1.5 million. That would work for us, it's 11.6 height. So there's options out there, and there occasionally used trucks do come to the market that, yeah, we could probably take a look at. But you've got to ask that question, why are they
Yeah.
selling it?
Right.
If they've ordered
Well,
a
I was
custom-
thinking more of a new truck like you got, where it's in production and then you
Yeah.
put your
Yep.
tweaks on it and go
Yeah,
from
and
there.
you'll see two types of trucks. You'll hear, some of us refer to them as sticks. They're just straight ladder trucks with the nozzle on the top. And then you have platforms that you actually have a platform you climb into, stand in, and it elevates you.
That's what we had.
Yeah, us old guys need platforms. We don't climb up 100-foot ladder. When you have extended operations, you want a platform because you can stick a guy up there for an hour and he's not going to get fatigued. So yeah, platform is the only direction we would recommend going. Is it's safer, it's more versatile. We can do high access rescues off of them a lot easier than a stick because you have a platform to work off, and they're usually two-person platforms. So when we had a platform, I know Matt sent me pictures too late, but he did a high rescue off of our platform, hanging off with ropes, and just went over the side and went down, and someone had fallen on a roof, scaffolding had fallen, and they went up and got the guy and lifted him up with it's called a Stokes basket. It's a basket we use that you put people in and raises them up, and you can set them down on the ground for EMS to access. So, yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else.
Yeah, the county's, don't discount the county for not needing the ladder truck, because they're getting ready to do some density
Yeah.
changes.
Yeah.
So they're gonna need it too.
Yeah, and like I said,
Because they're gonna be-
we're not dead set on having the ladder in Cape Charles. Yeah, the need is predominantly here, but it's elsewhere in the county. Another station wants the ladder as long as we have access to it.
All right.
I think we need to get that partnership group together and begin those conversations sooner than later.
Yeah.
Get the right players at the table, and we need to initiate that from our perspective with you.
Sure.
And the right players at the table, then we bring that forth, and making it clear at that meeting that we're not taking ownership. We're just getting the right players at the table to get the conversation started
Yep.
and moving.
And one thing I've been asked, and I'll be upfront, when staffing can be challenging, especially with this type of apparatus, because it's very specialized. It takes hundreds of hours to be trained in them. It's not like we're going to, get somebody certified in the EVOC, which is emergency vehicle operations, and let them loose driving a truck. You have to have hundreds of hours of training, ride-alongs to get that. So you're going to have a limited staff of who can actually get the truck to sea. Now, once you get there operating pumps and the aerial, that's some different conversations. But what we would look at doing is wherever the truck is and whoever has the title for the truck, you do inter-department agreements where
Yeah.
if no one is available from that station, this station and these certain people have access to go into that station, get the truck,
Right.
and get it to scene.
Yeah, the protocol for
Yeah,
how to
so,
make that happen.
right now, I'm not gonna go to Sheridan and grab a truck. We just don't do that today. There's not a
Right.
need for it. But if you have a specialized apparatus like that, it's a shared resource for the county, all
Yeah.
the fire departments. So you get these agreements, intercompany agreements in place where if that station is out of service or no one's available or whatever the case may be, or they're already out, their first due was an engine, they didn't get the ladder out, another station can come in and grab that apparatus and get it over to the scene.
Do you have any trained people on ladder?
So Matt would be, Jay would be, when we had the ladder. Yeah, so we have some people that are trained, but they would need to go back through all the training again. It's been a long time, and then when you get a new truck like this, you have to go through specialized training for just that apparatus, because everything is pretty custom for that truck.
I had another question, just going back to the beginning of your presentation. With the 37 calls that you were saying already for this
35,
year,
yeah.
does it stay at that same percentage, at 44% is still in town and the rest is
I
out? or
haven't, I didn't, I should have looked at the breakdown of that. I would say it's probably pretty close.
Okay.
I'd have to check on that though, don't hold
I
me
just
to
didn't
that.
know if the number went up and it was in town that it went up as well.
Kind of how it works in the year and just the nature of where we live. You might go up to 70% in the spring, the winter and the spring, and then when we hit shoulder season through September,
It's all over.
all of a sudden it goes to 70% in town and 30% in the county, because you have that influx of people in town, obviously you'd have more calls. So
Gotcha.
it balances out pretty evenly. So I mean, last year was 44, this year's 42. It's about the same.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you. Anybody else? Well, thank you very
Good.
much.
Thank you guys all very much.
Yep. Thank you.
Yes, thank you all very much. All right. So, do we have any public comments this evening? Guess we're going to find out. She's gonna, yeah, she's grabbing it now.
Boogeyman.
That's right.
So you have three have signed up.
All right.
The first one is Brian Murray.
What the chief said, I feel a little anticlimactic here. I came to comment on the amendment of the PUD, the Accomack Plantation PUD, which I know there's some talk about, and I think there's reasons to move forward on that. And, you know, this building thing demonstrates one of the needs. But, you know, as that's evaluated, you know, I think it's important to refer back to the preamble of the annexation, okay, which still applies with all the details in here. The preamble, and just 2 points. The Accomack Plantation will be compatible and complementary to the town, and thus help preserve the town's atmosphere, character, and charm. And number 5, the Accomack Plantation will feature peaceful residential neighborhoods, active lifestyles, and community amenities complementary to the natural characteristics of the property, okay? Those things still apply, and I think it's worth opening the amendment process, asking the developer to do this. I know that the short-term rental policy of the town could very well apply over there, because right now, the town policy, I believe, is silent over there. So that's something that I would encourage the town to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next one is Cheryl Neal. Neal.
Good evening. My name is Cheryl Mealy. I'm a disabled resident of Myrtle Landing, or Heritage Acres, as some people know it as. I'm speaking on behalf of myself and my neighbors tonight. I'm here to place formal notice on record regarding ongoing conditions at this HUD-assisted property and the continued lack of enforcement and oversight despite repeated notice. The conditions I'm describing are not cosmetic. The primary issue at this property is persistent storm water drainage failure. Water repeatedly pools near building foundations. Evidence of the resulting impacts include black mold emerging from light switch outlets, drywall separation at the seams, and increased utility costs for residents. In addition, other serious conditions persist, including failed repairs, pest infestations, and apartment entry without prior proper notice. Personal experience. Together, these conditions compound habitability, health, and safety concerns. These conditions reflect a visible and escalating pattern of neglect. Why do these conditions continue to pass inspection? And why has corrective enforcement not occurred here? Beyond habitability, the ongoing stormwater failures raise environmental concerns. Uncontrolled runoff leaves the site, burdens town drainage systems, and contributes to downstream impacts affecting the Chesapeake Bay and local water supply. Agencies from town to federal have received official documentation regarding these issues. Despite this, the conditions persist with no clear plan forward and no meaningful acknowledgement of concerns raised. I want to be clear. I'm not here to argue intent, not tonight. Ordinary enforcement is not working. I'm requesting that the town formally review inspection practices, code enforcement, and oversight related to this property and provide a written response within 10 days. Clarifying the determinations made, by whom, and how corrective action will proceed. I prefer this to be resolved through routine enforcement rather than escalation, but I'm prepared to do that. I've submitted written documentation for the official record, and I thank each and every one of you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I approach Nanny here? So the main copy, it is, but only the ones marked have copies for everyone, because I'm poor and I can't afford to make copies for everyone.
We can take care of
So
that.
this is yours, and then there's one for everyone else. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next one is Andy Dutton.
How y'all doing this evening?
Hello
Doing
there,
well,
sir.
Thank you.
Talking about the aerial truck, we bought one. I used to be in the fire department here, and we bought one in '84. I was the first one up that thing. We did it out here next to the grocery store. Straight up there at 100 feet, and that thing's going back and forth like that. Takes a special person to go up there, but that's nothing about history, but it is why I'm here. Not here to ask y'all for anything. I'm y'all's new president at the museum here in town. I want us to be a resource for the town, not a thorn in the side of y'all. Y'all need anything, y'all let us know. We'll be there for y'all, anything historically. If I can't answer it, I will try to find an answer for you, but I just want to have a relationship with the town. I don't want it just be a building y'all pass when y'all come in. Y'all more than welcome there anytime. I don't care if you're a member or not, that's everybody in here. However, we do have a membership drive coming up. But other than that, we're here for y'all if y'all need anything and any questions y'all have about the history of Cape Charles.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
Andy.
much. Appreciate you.
Thanks for coming.
Nobody else has signed up, and nothing was received in writing prior to.
All right. Later. All right, on to the consent agenda. We have approval on the minutes and approval of the December 2025 financial report.
Well, I want to make a motion that we change 2 items in the agenda. Ricky had wanted to move 9D in front of 9C. So that would be a request that I would make during my motion to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor to move D in front of C? In favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. Now back to the approval.
I have one too.
Okay.
Just want to make sure in section 9E, in the resolution, that we put an A at the end of that.
For the Cape values.
Cape Cod is correct.
Okay. Do we need a motion for that, or? No, I don't think we need a motion for
Should
that.
come from council.
Would someone like to make a motion that for the formal adoption of Cape values, we add an A to the,
So moved.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right, that carries. All right, back to the acceptance of the approval of the minutes and the financial report.
I'll make a motion that we accept financials and meeting minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that carries. Unfinished business. We have the railroad and harbor area master plan design. Ms. Nunez.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I will be bringing up Jim Clark to talk with you as well, but let me just give you the overview. We were approached, the town was approached a few weeks ago from Steve Bennett, who you know, who brought forward Mr. Clark, who is a resident, a seasonal resident with us currently, soon to be a full-time at some point in his life with us. And he is an architect with MTFA. And he's had experience with these design competitions, and he felt our project of the Harbor Railroad project might be an ideal partnership to bring that concept to us and really open it up to us to really get some greater vision from many, many participants in a different way than we've ever envisioned in any of our planning processes. So Rick and I met with him and with Mr. Bennett. We then did a follow-up meeting with our consultant, the Berkeley Group, to get their input on this. And I think we'd like to then make this presentation for you this evening to see if this is something that council would be okay with us incorporating into this planning process. So with that, I'm going to stop talking because I gave you everything here, but he's also put a lot of the same documentation to a presentation so the public can see. So Jim, come on up. This is Jim Clark, for those who don't know him.
Hi.
You're a go now.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be in Cape Charles. It's a wonderful place.
Thank you.
So I'm here to present a proposal for an ideas competition that parallels the master planning process that's being developed by the Berkeley Group. I'll begin with a little bit of background. So my wife and I discovered Cape Charles on New Year's Day in 2023. We saw the lot on New Year's Day, we made an offer and was accepted. Things move fast in Cape Charles.
Something.
Well, until we started construction of that.
Oh, there you go. There you have it.
So we built the, we can go to the next slide. We built the Purple House on the bay in the colony. But I think we can all admit that Cape Charles is a jewel that's generally undiscovered, unknown. You know, I brought this up to the people in the office in Northern Virginia that I was moving half of my life to Cape Charles, and they say, well, where's Cape Charles? It's, you know, they couldn't understand it. It could be in Virginia. It is. Next. As an architect, I wondered why Mason Avenue, that the town's main street was one-sided, quite intriguing, and this wonderful empty lot of land next to it. And so I had a preservation historian in the office dig out some of the historic photographs of the town so that I could learn the history of the site. And I thought these were kind of absolutely fascinating, that Cape Charles is a railroad town without a railroad, like many other towns in the U.S. now. I love this 1884 picture that shows the intersection of the horse, the vehicle, train, recreation, there's a tennis court there, all converging on the harbor. And while large buildings existed on the site, the harbor was physically connected to the harbors. The trains were the lifeline of the town. Freight and tourism ships completed the connection between the town and Norfolk, as you know. This was the, and you can go back a couple more, next one. And so this was the economic engine for the town that I would say today is replaced by the influx of professionals like me and my wife that can now work remotely, thanks to COVID. The prominence of the train yard building in the next slide reflected the architecture and the scale that's compatible with the town. The passenger train depot has large, well, the next slide, residential scale, but it's a wonderful mix and compatible to the town, and yet different in a town. The next slide shows that the carefully composed flow of the town on Mason Avenue to the railroad and the harbor. And this is a 1950s image that shows that connection from the town to that harbor site. And so, next slide. And so the site is a blank canvas. With my background in developing ideas competitions, I thought that an ideas competition may provide clues as to how the past can meet the future. And so, in my role as a leader in the Virginia American Institute of Architects for probably around 30 years, I've been involved in and created many design competitions involving students and involving architects, and so the following images provides the structure that I'm proposing for a Cape Charles Ideas Competition. Again, to parallel what's going on with the master plan, to feed into the master plan. So ideas competitions can be about people. So this was a charcoal sketch that Maya Lin used for the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. Look how simple it is, that simple idea. Actually, what's interesting about that idea was that it was a competition, and the head jury arrived late to the jury. It was Caesar Pelli, and he had looked at the submissions ahead of time. And so he got to the competition, to the jury, and the jury said, okay, we've created 3 piles. One's the reject pile, one's the maybe pile, and one's what we're going to discuss. And so Caesar Pelli looked at the pile of the ones they were going to discuss, and he said, I remember there's one of a charcoal sketch. Where is that one? Oh, it's in the reject pile. And so he said, well, let's talk about it. And you know, you can see how a strong idea, if it's recognized, can really change things. So she won an ideas competition and selected the firm that I actually worked for. I was coming in when she was leaving and had completed the design, but she was a student, so she needed a firm to develop that idea. And so, again, a simple idea has impacted so many people over 40 years. And so ideas competitions can be about places. So I developed the Interschool Design Competition about 40 years ago. That's still running today every year in September. It's a student competition that addresses places and is held at the National Building Museum with the top students of architecture from the regional schools of architecture. And so students work to develop an idea of a weekend charrette on the floor of the building. They act like an exhibit of themselves. It's quite wonderful when a banquet is being set up right next to the students working. So, and then next slide, the jury in the exhibits is then held in the grand space. Ideas, competitions can be about potential. And so I created and led the National Ideas Competition for the Washington Monument Grounds, which serves, I believe, as a good framework for the Cape Charles Ideas Competition. And similar to Cape Charles, the Washington Monument site is huge. And I worked with a committee of educators that sponsored the competition and gave it credibility. And actually, going back to that slide, I've gone to Virginia Tech, contact there, and the dean at Catholic University. I'm on the board of Catholic University School of Architecture, and they thought this was a fascinating competition that would attract students, even thesis students. So next. And so we created a website that becomes the connection to the world, an educational tool about the potential of, in this case, the monument's grounds. Next. The jury that we selected were a futurist, a landscape architect, a historian, a theater director, a writer, and a journalist that was actually a very reluctant journalist about doing anything on the site, which was kind of interesting. Next. And so out of this, we got 500 submissions from all over the world, including Russia, South Korea. There were 24 semifinalists for the design. So these were the concepts. They were asked to do a single-page PDF submission, so it encouraged a lot of participation, but absolutely beautiful ideas, single ideas. 6 were selected. Again, the idea here was to do it over time, do it slowly over a 2-year period. Again, education, it kept repeating, it kept connecting. And then 2 people won the competition, a professor from Dartmouth and then an architect from South Korea. We didn't want one person to win the competition because the intention was not to build the idea, it was simply to gather lots of idea and education. So all the ideas were useful. And so what does this mean and how does this apply to the railroad and harbor development site here in Cape Charles? So I think you've gotten a copy of a very rough draft of the competition brief, which is brief, it's 1 page, to encourage participation. And I propose that it would be issued by the town. The purpose of the competition is to provide test fits to the master plan framework that the Berkeley Group develops. It's ideas for people, place, and the site's potential that would really generate publicity, would create a buzz, would create an attraction to the site, would increase the value of the site. Eligibility, what I'm proposing is that Architecture University programs in the region would sponsor the competition, encouraging their students to participate. However, I think it would be important to open it up to anyone 12 years and older, and to really, again, create that excitement at all levels, not just at an academic level. The submission would be very simple for the first stage. It would be a 3-stage competition. The first stage would be an 8.5 by 11 format, and Virginia Tech recommends for this site 3 pages. The Washington Monument was limited to 1 page. The calendar that I'm proposing is the ideas competition brief would be issued by the town in late May for the stage 1 submissions to be due at the end of September, again overlapping with the end and the beginning of a scholastic year for architecture students. Semi-finalists would submit the development of the idea in the spring of next year, and the final stage will result in 2 winners in the fall of next year. The jury would be, a national jury would be selected. Stage 1 would be composed of professors, 1 from each of the local regional schools of architecture. Stage 2 would include nationally recognized professionals, and then stage 3 would be the people's choice, allowing the residents of Cape Charles to vote. The awards would include certificates, cash prizes, and knowing that ideas generated may impact the ultimate design of the development. Exhibitions of the submission along with the master plan would be held in Cape Charles in October of this year. I believe there's a festival in October, for a town festival of some kind, that would coincide with the exhibit. And that would help educate and share the outcome with the public. And so the idea for the competition is that the competition would spur interest in Cape Charles and this tract of land. It would join legacy to future, historical context with contemporary thinking. It would engage a lively debate about how to shape railroad towns that no longer have a railroad. It would increase the site's value and visibility. And most importantly, it would inform the master plan and what the Berkeley Group is generating. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right, so I'll just tell you how I feel when I go through this. I'm not sure how we fold this into the master plan when we're looking at the Berkeley group finishing up at the end of this year, if not sooner.
So we had, can I answer?
You sure can.
Okay, so we had an interesting discussion with the Berkeley group, and they're very receptive to the whole idea, much more so than I anticipated. And they said, well, you know, wouldn't it be great if we, you know, took a break from the master plan for a couple months over the summer, and allow the stage one of the competition to occur and feed in. The architect, the Berkeley group said, you know, anyone who's got a great idea in our office, we use that great idea. We don't care where it comes from. And so, you know, if it can inform the master plan in stage one, that would be fun. Stage 2 and 3 would happen after the master plan is developed. And so those are to just create more publicity, more buzz, more connection to the public.
So I think Jim has captured it correctly. We feel, and I did enclose the current calendar that we're
Microphone.
still working with, and we're trying to pick dates for some of the public sessions that were on the horizon under our scope of work. We recognize trying to hold some of the steering committee meetings and then public engagement sessions are going to be really challenging of trying to pick a right time frame in July and August, realistically. And so to some extent, we would love to be able to pause those and actually have them occur in September, where we're still getting the summer residents' feedback and the tourist feedback, et cetera, but it gets us a little bit out of that very crazy tourist calendar we're up against in the July and August timeframe. Because again, we recognize and they're fully committed to do both day sessions, like say I'm gonna pick July. So they come and they do a day session on a Saturday. I have to be realistic. If I'm trying to get our residents to come out on a Saturday in July and the weather's really good, I don't think they're gonna choose us. I think they're gonna choose the beach or something else that's more fun than 2 hours sitting in a community planning session.
And a lot of our part-time folks will have rented their homes. They're not necessarily
Right.
here that particular month.
So-
I mean,
so-
realistically.
So in that regard, if the council is willing to do that, and I don't think it really throws off our ability to continue moving this towards a completion by the end of the year of a planning process, that is one of the things we would like to do, is be able to pause over that July and August timeframe that we are going to have activities and push those into September instead. And I think that then allows the design competition, the first phase of it, to slide in quite naturally to allow us to recruit, inform, campaign, engage these universities to have their students hopefully participate and submit submissions through the website that would get developed to push it out to the world at large of this project. So in that regard, I think we can do this. We had a long conversation about scheduling just over this issue. So I think we can handle it if you are willing to have that slight pause. Again, I don't think it's going to push you to the end of 27, 26? Yeah, so, no, I think at best, maybe I'm going to say I'm bringing you the master plan for your review and adoption in December versus October. So.
Who would manage this? You say we, who would manage this?
Who's the we?
Oh, Jim, this is you, come on back.
As a new resident of Cape Charles and a fascination with this site, and also I want to make sure that that piece of land gets done right. And so I would be happy to help manage it. I would want to have it channeled through the town so that it's not my competition. My company is not involved, and I would do this as a volunteer, as I have with all the other competitions.
Well, keep in mind, we could possibly have at least 2, maybe 3 new council by the time this is over. Just so everybody knows that.
So you would still be full scope of what you were describing. You would partner with regional universities. Would you be making those? I mean, it sounds incredible, but a pretty big project that I worry for our staff.
Yeah, I don't want to impose anything on the staff or the Berkeley Group. There should not be any extra expense from where I see it. I think I've done this before.
Yeah.
I have 30 years' experience of working with competitions. I have the connections with the schools of architecture. I already started the conversation with Catholic University and Virginia Tech. I didn't want to go beyond that until I got your approval that this is something you want to do. But those two schools of architecture said it was a great idea. They actually made some suggestions which have shaped this a little bit differently than I initially thought it would go in. But I would expand that group to all the local schools of architecture within Virginia, Maryland, Washington, D.C.
So I don't understand though the timing, because if the final idea is being voted on by residents of the town after a master plan has already come out, is that what you were saying? Jim, I just worry then that it almost, it doesn't have as much weight then at that point.
If I could, again, the master plan document sets the parameters of our vision. And this competition would help visualize that vision and give us options of how we would like to see the property used and how that may equate into structures, landscaping, any other elements associated through that design competition that comes forward. So we may indicate through the master plan that we want this to be a shared use, a portion of say the 40 acres that's there, 20 of them be dedicated for trails, open space use, others more for mixed use of housing versus commercial, all of those components. That doesn't go away, and your master plan encapsulates all of those decisions that the town has reached through our planning sessions. This would just take those words and start to put some pictures associated with how could this look physically on the property.
So why wouldn't that come first and it be a feeder into this program? Because again, I can see us coming to that conclusion in the master plan and then having ideas come that just are so foreign to what we're envisioning in that area.
Well, again, and I hope Jim would step in here as well. Part of it is we're going to see what is that first round of entries to figure out, okay, are we on track, or maybe we are coming back to going, wow, we never thought of the property this way. Maybe we need to extend a little more time with the master planning process before we adopt it.
Oh, so let me just ask, with regards to your previous projects there, who owns the land on those particular projects? Your starting point on some of the examples that you had there.
The one for the Washington Monument grounds.
Right.
That's a whole bunch of stakeholders, including the National Park Service, the National Capital Planning Commission, the Commission of Fine Arts, the Smithsonian.
All right, but it was government owned.
Yeah, it's
right?
government owned.
Okay, so my question
Right.
really leads to, right now, we don't own the railroad property.
Right.
And we don't know what a developer will ultimately come in, and hopefully they'll meet within the master plan and provide their idea as to what they would envision.
So this is feeding from many different angles. So let's back up to, this summer, when the initial phase 1 of the master plan occurs. So this is when the concepts are coming out. So that would, the framework for the master plan would have been developed by May. And so that will be available to those competing. So they will use that framework that the Berkeley Group has already created.
Okay, all right.
And all the information from the town, from everything that's collected will be on the website, and that's available to those participating. So they'll develop ideas. There'll be a jury that will select the top 24 from that jury, the Berkeley Group can select any of the ideas. Let's say we get 200 entries. They can select any ideas which would be interesting on the site. possibly, may decide not to use any of them. And so, but as it goes forward, the master plan will go forward. It is a plan. It's still a plan. It's not three-dimensional. So the 26 ideas would go forward and develop further to provide interest and essentially feed ideas to the eventual developer of the site.
Like you said with the Washington Monument, there wasn't one that was selected.
Right.
But you came up with the concepts that then were moved forward. That would
That's
be
correct.
a good example.
Yes, and so those ideas that were generated for the Washington Monument could inspire something on that site.
Right.
20 years from now, or never.
Right.
But there is no single winner to the
Yes.
competition. In many ways, all the entrants are winners.
Right.
The benefit to the town is that you get lots of publicity and engagement with, and if you let it, anyone in the world participate, engagement from the world.
All right, so let me just be clear. We're gonna have something out of the master plan that will provide some kind of structure to what we're looking at there.
Right.
They'll know certainly the boundaries, they'll know railroad easements and crosswalks and boardwalks and all that stuff that we have already in ordinance space.
That's correct, because there's 3 phases to the master plan, and the second phase will be completed by May to
Okay.
coincide with the beginning of the
Okay,
competition.
that makes,
Just so you're aware, Paul, like the existing conditions, where you just referenced a lot of that, that's coming at the upcoming March 3 meeting that we have scheduled for the steering committee, for the public at large, to come here,
Right.
learn about this, and again, we'll put that on the website. So we're starting, a lot of the work that the Berkeley Group has already been doing since the fall is starting to come, not to a head, but is starting to percolate out to real information for us.
okay, and that's all I'm looking for, is I need a feeder from the master plan so that this isn't a wide open, design me anything you want in this open space.
That's correct.
I'll have another Washington Monument, railroad, and it's like, no, not gonna happen.
That's right.
How about a 6-story glass building?
And again,
Nothing over 35 feet.
you don't need to use any of the ideas, or you may find that
Right.
a bunch of
Okay.
them are interesting.
All right.
I'm fine with it.
I think it's super exciting. I used to work on college campuses for years, so one of the things I've always felt that we lacked is our ability to partner with the education kind of environment. So I'm very excited to see this. This is really exciting.
And I would assume schools of landscape architecture would also get included in possibilities?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I think that would be great.
Anybody else?
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion that we proceed with authorizing the idea design competition.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Yay.
All right.
Gives you time to work in the PUD.
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
I know the Berkeley Group had some concern about inviting anyone in the world to participate. I think it's important to open it up to anyone, students and beyond. I don't
What's
see
their
it.
concern?
They had some professional concerns since we've been through a procurement process for their services. They didn't want to give any particular other for-profit organization an advantage over this. But I think we're okay because of the way we've kind of designed how we select, how the stages would be done, the jury. We talked about jury composition a little bit, and we would like to hopefully retain representation from the Berkeley Group as part of the review process
Sure.
as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah.
so
Absolutely.
I think they raised it initially with me when we were having this conversation. We brought it up in our follow-up meeting. We wanted to make sure we brought it to you, and I think the idea is we'd like to just open this up to everybody
Agreed.
who wants to submit.
At least 12
Absolutely.
years old.
Right, absolutely.
All right, wonderful, thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Welcome to
That's,
volunteering in Paramount.
yes, yeah. We'll remember that for sure.
We'll be on standby to your list.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
All right, moving on to new business, the Virginia Port Authority Aid to Local Ports Grant.
Good evening.
Good evening.
All right, so we're moving on to the mundane portion of the program tonight. We're talking about boardwalks, signs, sidewalks, and ramps. So the first one is the boardwalk. If you've been down to the harbor, you know that we've completed the first 2 phases of the boardwalk reconstruction. And I must say, I think it looks great. They're going to deploy some benches there and everything to dress it up a little bit. And the tree planting program is going to plant 3 trees in the landscape bed to provide some shade. So it's going to dress it up. So we have 1 phase to go, and that's the section in front of the shanty. There are photographs in your package. We estimate that that's going to cost just over $64,000 to complete. So we are at the beginning of a grant cycle for the Port Authority, and if we submit this application by the 1st of March, the mayor has to sign it and submit it by the 1st of March, we have the possibility of getting 75% coverage, which is 48,300, 300 or 400, whatever it is. So we're recommending the application and the letter is in your package, and we're recommending approval of submission of that grant application. Questions?
You set a maximum grant of 75%, but you think it would be great if we got 50%?
Well, we've been pretty successful. They only have $1 million to dole out, and they try to. We compete with Norfolk, Newport News, but they try to spread a little money around to the smaller municipalities. What they find is a lot of the smaller municipalities get an award, and then they find out they actually can't execute it. So there's a lot of, oh, we got to carry this over and that type of thing. We've been pretty lucky. We've executed a lot of their grant money. So for example, the last 2 grants we got for the Inner Harbor bulkhead repair, that totaled $350,000, and we got it under contract and got it done. I think that we'll get the full 75%, but I don't think they'll stiff us entirely.
No, we generally get some from like every other year, don't we?
Well, it depends on what we have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been pretty successful with them.
Yeah, and a lot of their money has gone into our harbor.
Will we know how much we got from the grant by the time we're going to budget cycle?
Yes, as stated in the staff report, they passed the resolution in May. So we'll know, generally it's mid-May, end of May, we'll know.
All right, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we authorize the mayor to request a aid to local ports grant in the amount of $48,300 for the Harbor Boardwalk Reconstruction Phase 3.
Second.
Any other discussion? I just have one thing on that. It's ready to go now?
It is ready to go.
Okay, just wanted to make sure, because I'm gone Thursday, so. All right, all in favor for the grant, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. All right, resolution to VDOT for placement of flooding notification signage around Plum Street and Madison Avenue.
I'll just take this one.
Go right ahead.
We have put together, the staff report to kind of show where the signs that we're looking at. We would like to submit this to VDOT and to get their approval, and so that's what we have before us. This is, if you remember, this has probably come up a couple times. I know I've had conversations with other people around the area, and then our last council meeting, we had someone to make the request. So this is the process to put it into motion.
So it's great to put the signage in motion, but do we also go forward in the big picture of actually looking to repair so that it doesn't flood with VDOT at the same time?
Kayaking community may not want that.
There's not much you can do about it there. It's the lowest part in town, and you get
Well,
a
there's
high,
still a
you get a
lot.
high tide, and the water can't go anywhere.
I've
That's the problem.
I've asked several emails
Let's say
asking
raise
them
that
to
road.
come and meet with me so we can walk through projects. And
VDOT?
You'd have to raise that
Alright.
road up.
So not getting onto that, and I'm sorry, I got off track there. But do I hear a motion for the signage?
So,
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to say that we adopt a resolution requesting that the Virginia Department of Transportation evaluate the roadways and the intersection of Plum Street and Madison Avenue and install warning signage including or indicating the potential for street flooding during heavy rain or storm events.
Is there a
A
second?
second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, that motion carried. Oh, I'm sorry.
Roll call vote.
Yes.
Oh.
That's what I thought, yeah.
I'm sorry.
I didn't know if we needed to actually say the, adopt resolution 2026012.
I'll go ahead and do that, sorry. So I move for adoption of resolution 202602219, request to VDOT for warning signage on certain Cape Charles streets that are prone to flooding as noted, and forego the reading of the resolution. Roll call vote. Ashworth?
Yes.
Buckholz?
Yes.
Buda?
Yes.
Grossman?
Yes.
Holloway?
Yes.
And Newman is absent. All right, now that motion carries.
Newman just wants to go to kayak.
Yes, he probably was in there. All right, so moving up D, we are going to be talking about the sidewalk infill project.
Sidewalk infill, this is the one, I'm gonna hand out the bid results. Did not have it available, so just got it for you. Jeez. Somebody's got too much time on it. So we had,
Thank you.
I'll hand that out, just keep talking. As you know, this, the sidewalk infill project is kind of a partnership between the Historic District Civic League and the town. We've done a lot of legwork. Oh, you have. Done a lot of legwork. Documenting where the gaps are in the historic district, and they establish priorities of completing a loop around the town so that you can walk completely around the town, and then continuous east-west sidewalks. They're lacking on Madison and Jefferson, and then their next priority would be to take a look at north-south streets to make sure there are continuous sidewalks on north-south streets. We got recommendations from them. We put out an IFB that had a base bid to do the infill on Fig Street, on the west side of Fig Street. The Civic League's priority was to get up to Madison Avenue where there is a existing paver sidewalk that comes down the east side, and there's a ramp there. We would connect there to get around town. And then the one bid alternate, it was actually bid alternate number 2, was to fill in the gaps on the north side of Madison Avenue. We also had another bid alternate in there for doing another block on Fig Street. It's a low priority, but we wanted to see what the bid would come in on. We had 2 bidders, Rick's Concrete and Jimenez Builders. You have the bid tabulation. Extraordinary how close they were. So the total, if you did it all, Jimenez comes in slightly under, about $700 under Rick's Concrete. And if we do the 2 priority segments, which are Fig Street and the north side of Madison Avenue, Fig Street to Madison, and then the north side of Madison Avenue, it's $67,497.
All right, so you're recommending the base plus the alternate number 2.
Correct.
As a scope.
We are recommending that to take care of the priority segments, and that would free up a little over $30,000 to do the ramps. So that's the recommendation.
Why not do all three?
The third section on Fig Street is not a priority from the Civic League's point of view. And in the staff's view is the ramps are a higher safety priority.
Not to be a squeaky wheel, did we reach out to VDOT on those ramps?
I did not.
All right. I mean, it's part of their deal, isn't it?
I think we send them the bill.
I'm with that.
I mean,
Move forward,
Anyone
but
reached out to VDOT, like, maybe not in this go-round, but have we ever asked for the ramps, even in the past?
No.
To VDOT?
I'm not aware of it, no.
no. But I say do it and go in retrospect to try to get the funding.
I agree.
I mean, it can't hurt.
No.
For these 2 contractors, have we used one before?
We have used Jimenez before. They did the sidewalks on the west side of the park on Strawberry Street. They did the sidewalk around New Roots Youth Garden. They did the handicap spots on Park Row.
Oh, okay.
And they did the handicap spots on Plum Street.
Plum Street.
And did we have any issues with them in any of those?
No.
No issues at all.
Good
Who just
people.
did Bay Avenue?
Anderson just did Bay
So
Area.
they didn't even bid, right?
Yeah, they were low bid on that. We've never had, I've not had experience with Rick's Concrete, nor has Public Works.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we proceed with Jimenez contract for base and alternate number 2 for $67,497.
Second.
Any other discussion?
When did the ramps become a priority? Was it just this last meeting when we started talking about them in relation to the electrical upgrade? I don't remember.
Yes.
I mean, yes, they
Yes.
need to be a priority, but was that the first time they were brought up?
Not the
Well,
first time
no.
they've been
In
brought
the
up.
meeting session.
I know I've brought them up in other meetings.
they've been brought up over the couple of years.
Yeah.
But were they ever on our priority list?
Not that I recall.
I just, it seems like we're changing focus in the right place. I mean, I think these things need to be done, but it's coming out of left field, and it wasn't on a list that we were supposed to be looking at and working toward. That's my only concern.
Yeah, I don't think we stay slave to a list. If things that we realize are more important come up, we know it's a safety issue.
It's a
We
capital
know that
improvement.
people have fallen, it's a liability issue. And the fact that we know it's been a problem and allow it to continue is even worse. So I think this has to be addressed.
We knew it was a problem when we haven't reached out to VDOT in how many years?
Do we want to wait 6, 7 years before VDOT acts?
Absolutely
No, we
not.
don't. So we move
Absolutely
ahead.
not.
It's my
But we
opinion.
should have been reaching out to VDOT
Water
since
under
we
the
knew it
bridge.
was a problem.
Water under the bridge.
With-
I agree with,
Without
I
a
agree
doubt.
with Tammy that
But I think that, and there are other areas that have, the ramps are not accessible in the way that we have many of them identified. I went over one the other night on Randolph and Peach that is just in the dark. I mean, just walking, you could plummet, let alone if you're in a wheelchair. I guess I question also, because we committed to the Historic League to move forward on the infill that we did, do we not have that money somewhere else to use? I guess that I don't want to assume that we discount not doing that if there is that money that exists. I think we brought it up from listening to the meeting. I apologize, I wasn't here. From what I listened, and sometimes you lose nuance of that, it did become a big priority that night because I think it became like a heightened awareness all of a sudden. That doesn't mean that we didn't necessarily think it was important, but it became an awareness. I agree, I don't necessarily think that should shift our plans. Are we saying that how much is it, Bob, for the handicap? 30?
33, right?
The estimate is 30.
30.
30.
So can't we do all of it?
Right.
I mean, what's holding us back from doing all of these pieces and finding the 33 elsewhere?
Right.
Right? I mean, that's-
I was under the impression that's what we were doing after the last meetings. We
Yeah.
were finding the money for the ramps, not touching any other money.
Right,
Was
because,
my impression.
I mean, because if needed, we could use the 30 with that one, I always get this number wrong, at 162, is that the,
Yeah.
Well, again.
164, thank you.
Yeah,
I get it wrong every
Let me
single time.
Let me
so.
interject here. The third piece in that IFB is not a priority at the Civic League. So, yeah, if the council wants to spend $100,000 on sidewalks, I would advocate for going back to the Civic League and ask them to pick a section of Jefferson and let me put an IFB out and do Jefferson, if you want to do that. You also have 160, you're actually on the next item, okay? But there's $164,000 available in the Mason Avenue Upgrade Project.
Yeah,
I'm working, I've already got quotes for streetlights. My best guess is that we can do the section that you had asked to do for about $80,000 to $85,000. So there's money available there.
So
You have options.
I like that suggestion. I would rather say, let's approve the 2 priorities that are on this list, and then let the Civic League, in conjunction with the administration, know that we have money still left over in the original 100,000 to continue sidewalk infill and not take our eye off of that prize, and then find money elsewhere for these ramps.
Yeah, VDOT.
I don't think timing,
Yes.
I don't think timing wise, and you can film, in, are we gonna be able to have added scope be done by this fiscal year?
can
Okay?
we ask the
we-
Civic League if you guys have a backup plan? Do you have a?
They're working on it.
Yeah,
We want to be at Jefferson.
Jefferson is your next,
Yeah.
Priority.
Yeah, so by the time you put an RFP out and get bids and what have you, we're at the end of the fiscal year, and we're budgeting sidewalk repairs every year. We happen to put 100,000 just as a placekeeper. We're not gonna use it all, fine. We budget what the next segment is for next year.
That's what's in,
So
that's what's in our camp.
If we're gonna do that anyway for next year, why don't we just think that that would be for Jefferson and go ahead and do this piece that is.
on
is-
FIG.
On FIG, why not? I mean, at some point, this piece wants to be done, right? May not be the high priority.
May not
but
be
if
their
it's already
priority, I
been-
agree.
It's
It's
a,
already been,
it's a very low priority.
but then why
Why was
was it
it bid?
included? That's what I'm still not understanding. Why was it included? in this?
It was included because I moved ahead with the IFB because the Civic League hadn't provided their priorities yet.
Okay.
Simple as that.
Okay, so, but there is a desire for this section to be done at some point, correct?
If you want to fill all the gaps.
Well, yes, we
Yes.
do.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, so why not just do all of this that's been bid and find the money for the ramps? I like VDOT too, but that would take past our lifetimes.
Maybe.
Would you like to amend the motion? Because it's already on the table.
I would like to amend the motion
Two.
to include all of the alternates with a total of 102,082 for sidewalk.
99,082. They're giving a $3,000 discount.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, 99,082, under budget.
Second.
budget.
I second the amendment.
Thank you.
And there's a second. Any other discussion on
Yeah,
that?
that goes to Rick's Concrete, right?
No.
No.
It's Jimenez still.
Still Jimenez.
Oh, he put the. he put
3,000
that-
discount.
all right. Oh, he put that there.
Yes, he did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just be concerned that we don't address the handicapped accessibility on the ramps. That we make sure we still have funding available for that and that it can occur as quickly as possible.
And I think in the next item, we probably will
That's
be
going
able
to
to
be the
do
next
that.
item.
Just want to
Yeah.
make sure we're not going to run out
Yeah,
of money.
I agree, Ken.
We have money here.
Yes.
We won't run out of money.
And then we just encourage the Civic League to come forth with the
Down there had a second.
plan for the
All
next one.
right, Tammy seconded it.
Yeah.
So not hearing any other discussion, all in favor of the amendment to the motion, say aye.
Aye.
None opposed, all right, so that carries. So that motion is to go forward.
Great.
Thank
All
you,
three.
Bob.
We will get it done.
Thank you so
All
much.
right, so the next one, I'm up here, next one is the, well, you pretty much talked about it already. The three identified handicap ramps on Mason, two on the north side, one near Lemon Tree and one near the library. And then the other one is on the south side of the crosswalk to Strawberry Street Plaza. So the estimate is $30,000 to do that. What I would recommend, since we've now used the $100,000 for the sidewalk infill, is to dip into the $164,000 for the Mason Avenue electrical upgrade. That will still leave us a sufficient amount of money to do that section from Harbor to Bay.
I have one question about that before kind of we've approved this. The lamp posts that you're getting the quotes on are the higher grade wind?
Higher grade
The wind capacity for, other than the upgrade in the lamp posts, because, you know.
They're our standard light pole.
Right, but there's some that the company that we got them from originally had talked about that there's a higher level wind capacity. They look just like ours, but they have a higher capacity wind. And I just want to make sure we're getting that quote as we move forward.
That wasn't the standard pole that the council adopted.
I realize that, but we're on a, and I apologize again, I wasn't here at that meeting. I'm screaming to myself like, no, the wind, because this area is a whole new game. I mean, remember the issues we had with the one across from E&O Hub? That's a wind that's come down several times because of the wind.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can check with them on that. I think the solution to that is just not hang flags on them.
Well, Main Street already has talked about that and knows that, but they are a higher capacity lamp post. They look, my memory, I can't remember the wind capacity.
I'll check with our provider.
But I know that they're a little more expensive, which is why we went with the other ones, because it wasn't as much of an issue where they were located. But we saw the problems with them as they got closer to the beach. And since we're doing that area,
I'll check. I don't recall any of that. So.
And we are missing one. When I go through and look at it, there's one missing. We have the one at Buskey's, and then we're talking about starting at Harbor. But we really could use one on that space, right?
You're absolutely right. I was
Okay.
down there today and looked
Okay.
at it. And we may be able to properly space it. We could put one on that corner.
Yeah.
And then kind of skip that
Yeah.
corner a little bit to get it in between houses.
Yeah, yeah, because it would be such a gap otherwise, yeah. Okay. And
May
then
still
there's.
be able to do it with 6.
There's one other place we're missing one that I'd never noticed until I started to look more closely on, across from the Silver Bullet on that corner. We don't have a lamppost, and there's this gap between.
By the pine trees?
No, on the, I guess it would be the west, the south.
On the south side.
Uh-huh.
By the pine trees.
Yeah, there's no trees. I'm not talking about by the Silver Bullet, it's diagonally across.
The west side of the driveway.
Yes.
Yeah, they could use one there.
Yeah, it just to balance things out, and if we have that funding, we might as well look at getting them.
Yeah.
And then, to everybody's point, just with the whole VDOT, I would like to formally make a request here that we do set something up with VDOT, with myself, yourself, to actually sit down.
If we can get a resolution.
Well,
I mean, they made us put those extra handicap spots in, so I think they're more than liable to put the ramps in.
it's at least worth a discussion.
Yeah.
And these discussions need to start for other things that Cape Charles is gonna need, and we need to start mending that fence, as far as I'm concerned.
So I sidetracked your request there, Bob, sorry, with a lot of questions.
It's all right.
I have one more. The one on the south side of Mason, when the picture is looking at the yellow curb, what's the size of that, like, area? Do you know what I'm talking, the
Probably
one?
8 to 10 feet wide.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, unfortunately, I do.
You
know.
don't.
The crosswalks are 8 feet wide, And the minimum size for a crosswalk is 6 feet, so they're more than adequate width. We can probably sneak, a ramp actually can be as narrow as 3 feet, but it's recommended to be 5. So we can sneak a ramp in there without cutting that tree down.
Oh, right. My bigger concern on that side, which didn't get brought up in the discussions when you guys met last, and it's not for this issue, but those curbs, we have to make that part of our phased plan, because those are just unbelievably dangerous.
But would this ramp get rid of that curve there where that's
Yeah.
painted yellow, the whole strip of it?
No.
No, 5 feet.
5 feet of it.
5 feet. That's why I was asking how big it was, because I was
Yeah.
curious.
Will it take over this picture that you've shown us?
Yeah.
Where it's painted yellow, that will all be ramp, is that correct?
Correct.
Thank you, that's.
Yeah,
Well, 5 feet.
5 feet of it.
5 feet.
Not 8 feet of it. That's why I was asking, because I would like 8 feet.
Yeah, I would too. I would too, I guess is what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
5 feet.
We can't do 8 because now then we're gonna have
What
a
am-
wider, aren't we gonna have several grades in there then
No.
at that point?
No, you'll
You're
have
gonna
a,
have an 8-foot wide crosswalk that narrows down to a 5-foot wide.
You'd have a ramp there.
Ramp. right.
Right?
Mhm.
So you'll have a 1.5 on either side that's gonna be
Curb.
curved.
Can't we just make
Well, not
it match the crosswalk?
Yeah,
Have to take a tree down.
I don't see that.
The
I don't
tree,
see why you would have to take the tree down. Help me
I don't
know
either.
why.
Let's not worry about that.
There's a tree that's pretty much,
I'm looking at it.
yeah, it's pretty much right there, so it may have to go.
No, why? It's on the other side of the sidewalk.
Let's leave that up to the engineers when they.
Yeah,
put it
but
in.
well, but I think we should attempt to try the 8 foot, because number one, it takes 3 more feet away from our problem of the height of the sidewalks, and if we're taking on this
Remember, they're
expense, we
putting in
need
a
to do it.
special grade, so the special grades only come in certain sizes unless, can they cut them? The special grades they screw into the ground, the rubberized mats,
We have huge ones that are right over
whatever that.
on Peach.
that
There's,
little-
that doesn't
Oh,
matter.
the
The dot- the
detectable
rubbery
coating
things?
surface?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're plastic.
Yeah, they're plastic.
But the,
They can be any size.
Yeah,
yeah, but that's at the end.
yeah,
But we have to lay it out and see.
yes.
I haven't gone out there and diagrammed it.
I just
have
think
to
if we
lay it out.
can do that, I'm with Tara, that we should try on this particular one, because it'll help.
This is the place where people are falling all the
Yeah.
time. And if we can eliminate, as you said, Tammy,
Mhm.
more barriers there, why not? Especially while we're at it.
Yes.
Yeah, It'll get a little bit more if we get 8 feet. What you have to think about too, with that curb, that curb, it's not just the curb. You have 4 feet of sidewalk behind that curb.
know.
And it's all the same elevation.
Yes,
You can't just get rid of the curb. You gotta
No.
take the whole thing down.
I know, for the bigger issue, yeah.
It's hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Big time, but it's, at some point, we've got to figure out how we resolve it, whatever the resolution is. But do we need a motion then to move forward on the 30 grand?
Yes.
You do.
So I move that we use 30, do I need to go up from that for this extra
Would the 8
cost?
still be 10,000 for 8 foot? Or
Yeah.
should we make it 35,000?
Give me 35.
Let's say 35,000 for the handicap curb cuts on Mason Avenue that are designated from the $164 for the Mason Avenue.
Let her finish your motion, please. Second?
Second.
So,
Discussion.
now, Sil, just so you realize, you weren't here, we already allocated the leftover money from whatever's gonna be done down on the east end of Mason Avenue to put towards the engineering of Strawberry Street, so that goes away
No.
then. Yes.
You
There's
did not
no-
agree,
we
you
haven't
did
voted
not
on
agree
anything yet.
that.
We're
Yeah, we
doing that this
did.
evening.
We
You
said
did-
that last meeting.
You said it,
We
but
did
you
not
did
have
not
a vote.
decide
We
it.
did not have a motion.
Did we not do that?
I watched that,
We did
I
not-
watched that meeting.
Libby, did we have a motion?
It was
We did
just
not have a
discussion.
motion. It was
No.
just discussion.
No.
I watched that
No,
meeting
no, no.
over 2-3 times.
That is correct.
Just discussion.
There was no motion because we even talked about that we
Yes.
were
Said
not
we
taking
were
it
put-
forward to a vote.
There,
Yes.
there- there's no motion, there was no motion, and we don't have an engineer. So this
Remember
is,
saying it.
this is a next
We did
fiscal
say,
year
we talked
problem.
about it, but there was no motion.
Let Bob finish.
Yeah.
In that meeting, you actually said that you instructed Bob and Rick to do a request for proposals for engineering
Right.
services for Strawberry Street lighting and continued coordination with VDOT regarding ADA ramps, but you did not fund any money.
Right.
for it.
Exactly.
Correct.
By the time we put out an RFP, get it all back, select an engineer,
Yes.
it's next fiscal year.
Right.
Perfect.
And
Any more
you also
discussion?
talked about it being,
Contact and
coming up with the phases of the project, whether Strawberry comes before what you're gonna do on Mason and all of that. I mean, I can understand why it would be confusing, because you went back and forth many, many times in that conversation. I
And the VDOT
know.
discussion was for the ramps. It
Yes.
wasn't for the Strawberry Street or Mason.
So the motion on the floor is for the 35 for the curb cuts.
Correct. And was there a second already?
Yes, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other
And
discussion?
I really want you guys to reach out to VDOT. I really do.
I already made the request.
I'll just say, I have reached out through email twice to have a
Let's get-
meeting to discuss these projects with them. So I have done twice.
All
I
right,
will
let's
do
get a
it again
resolution then.
and try to get them here.
We just did it for the flood. Why not do a resolution for these handicap?
Let's just take it up the ladder.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
Someone up
say.
that's gonna-
Sounds like
that's
we
gonna
need to go to
actually
the next
Not
level.
gonna wanna get the email that says, look, why aren't you answering Kate Charles?
I would put it in writing, like, like you've done the emails, you said 2 emails. I would bring the mayor in on that and copy the next person in line saying I'm following up on, it's my 3rd email follow-up.
Yeah, because
We've got several things going
We changed the
on.
speed limit pretty quickly over by the brewery when they didn't want to do it, and we came from the top down, they changed it in a week.
Yeah.
Which is why we need to start having discussions with VDOT again.
Yes,
Exactly.
Because that started already.
yes.
But anyway, now that we
Okay.
have a motion and a second and discussion is over, all in favor of the curb cuts, say aye.
Aye.
All right, any opposed?
Thank
That
you.
motion carries.
So then the next thing is you're gonna get the pricing on the lampposts, right?
Yeah, that'll be
That'll
part
be out
of,
of that money.
that'll be part of the overall, I've got to put in an IFB
Yeah.
for the electrical work, the whole thing, so.
Yep.
Like you said, that's going to be in the next fiscal year.
No, no,
maybe
that's
it's
No.
for, that's for Strawberry. That's
No,
for
that,
Strawberry.
yeah,
I'm
this,
sorry.
this one's to this one, because we have the 50,000 from the county
Gotcha.
Yeah,
that Main Street has confirmed we can use.
and
Okay.
it'll be a sprint to get that done this fiscal.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
good deal. Thank you
Bob,
so much.
thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right, on to E, the formal adoption of CAPE values. Oh, I'm sorry.
The laptop went to sleep.
Oh. Welcome to the stage, sir. And before we go into this real quick, Rick, did you have a comment that you wanted to say with the Nini as far as for the VDOT and all? I didn't know if you had already had something in motion, because you were starting to talk and then
No,
you
no, I just
jumped
wanted
in.
to say, I have reached out twice.
Okay.
I'll reach out again, and I've invited them to come, so have a meeting with us.
Okay.
And I'll invite you to be part of that.
Okay, I just didn't know if we cut you off, I'm sorry.
No, that's good.
Time to move to Suffolk. These guys up there.
All right. So I'm excited about this opportunity. This is something that we have been discussing for months within staff. And this is an opportunity where we're here to discuss and love to see you adopt what we have already formally and our staff adopted. Tonight isn't about adopting new rules. It's about recognizing and formalizing the values that have already defined Cape Charles at its best. So, yeah, I was just saying he's not doing it. So why talk about values at all? Culture exists whether we define it or not. Values clarify expectations. Shared values create consistency, and alignment builds trust, public trust. In local, I'm still on the same page. In local government, policies guide what we do. Values guide how we do it. And how we do it is what people remember. And so I think about it's the little things that we do that matter a lot. A lot of times we do things and you expect it and it's not remembered. But it's the little things that when you go the next step, people remember. It's like going to a hotel and you walk into your room and you see the little chocolate on your bed. It's like, oh, I noticed that. Or when you go into the bathroom and see how they fold the toilet paper, or when they leave the water green or blue. You know, it's like, oh, someone just cleaned it, and it means something. Well, I think the same thing. Values create alignment between council's policies, direction, and staff's daily implementation. That's why this is really important. Slide 3. So why this matters now? Growth and complexity require clarity. Expectations from residents are increasing. Internal consistency strengthens credibility. Organizational stability supports long-term success. And as Cape Charles, as we continue to grow and evolve, clarity becomes more important, not less. Shared values gives us the steady foundation. Number 4. So how did we get here? What was the process of choosing CAPE as our framework for our values? We did a lot of listening, did a lot of collaboration with our staff. Multiple staff listening sessions, cross-department representation. We identified themes already valued. We refined language. We explored multiple one-word frameworks so that we can easily remember the values that we pick. And it was interesting that it was a unanimous staff vote that aligned around CAPE. Unanimous as we brought it down. This was not about a developed top-down. We held multiple meetings across the departments to identify what staff already believed mattered. Then we worked through several rounds to refine those shared themes into single, clear, memorable framework. Staff unanimously voted to align around CAPE. That unanimous matters. Number 5. So what does CAPE stand for? As you see, the C is for community engagement, the A is for accountability, the P is for professionalism, and the E is for excellence. So next slide. We define that, so you get to see what this really means to us. CAPE, the CAPE as each letter. Community engagement is we listen before we decide. That's a value that we shared, and it came out over and over and over again. Accountability, we do what we say we'll do. That's important, especially with our different departments. Professionalism, we act with integrity and consistency. Excellence, we strive for quality and continuous improvement. We view it as opportunities. As we see things that need changing, it's an opportunity for us to get better. So just as CAPE protects the community, CAPE protects our culture. So next slide. So here's pictures of protection. Just as an umbrella protects you from the rain, the elements, a lock protects you from those that you don't want in. An armor is a protection against your enemies that are coming at with arrows or swords. But what's interesting, next slide, is CAPE also is a superhero. And how neat that we are a CAPE. Our CAPE, we were named Cape Charles because of the protection that it does for our town. Number 7. Why does this matter to staff? Provides clarity and shared language. It encourages pride in public service. Reinforces positive behaviors already happening. Supports consistency across departments. That pride is contagious, as when we talk about who we are and what we do. And it's amazing you hear people talk about it. And then when people come in, they can tell a difference. When you set a standard, it's easy to set because it becomes culture. It's who we are. CAPE gives staff a common compass. It affirms the good work that's already happening, and it raises the bar for how we show up every day. Number 7. Why does this matter to council? It's very important that we understand this connection to the governance now. Aligns staff execution with council vision. Reinforces ethical governance. Creates consistency in service delivery. Supports long-term organizational stability. Council sets policy and vision, as you know. Staff carries it out. CAPE strengthens the bridge between these two roles. Next slide. In the same question, we've looked at why does it matter to staff? Why does it matter to council? Why does it matter to our community? Well, it builds trust. It encourages transparency, promotes professionalism, sets expectations for service quality. Residents may never read our policies, but they will experience our culture. CAPE ensures that experience reflects the best of Cape Charles. When they come in, we want them to have a great experience. We want them to know that we listen, that when corrective actions are needed, we make those. But our goal is that we provide that same kind of culture back to them. Next slide. So we've heard about why it matters to us, you, the community. What is it not? So we didn't create this culture in order to be a disciplinary tool, to be a performance weapon, to be a political statement, to be a rebranding effort, or to mandate change, to change personalities. CAPE is not about forcing conformity or a license for micromanagement. It is not about discipline. It is not about adding bureaucracy. It is about elevating what we already value. It's not about perfection. It's about intention, that we are intentionally trying to set a better standard in who we are and let it be reflected in all of us. Next slide. What CAPE is. So we just said what it's not, but what it is. It's a shared leadership compass, like I said. We know what True North is. We know what we're striving for. It's a culture. We agree on this is how we are going to act, how we're going to make decisions, how we think. It's a cultural anchor. It's a commitment to continuous improvement. It's a service mindset. It's a reflection of who we are at our best. It's what we strive for. Just like when we put mission and visions of what Cape Charles is, this is the value of that vision and mission. Next slide. So implementation. We want it to be simple. We want it to make it so that it's measurable. It's not heavy. It's something that it's a tool for us. We will use this as we incorporate onboarding. It says new people come on. We want them to embrace this CAPE mentality that we have. It's CAPE tested. It's CAPE true. It's things that we can talk into and it becomes normal to them. We'll reference it in staff meetings. Have we thought through the CAPE as we incorporate a new policy to make sure that it's in line with that? It'll be used in discussion making as we do language, so you will hear it in our retreat coming up. It's going to be reinforced through recognition. When we see people living the culture out, that we want to recognize them. So you may hear us from time to time bring somebody or allowing them to be recognized because of the exceptional values that they're displaying. It's not a big program. It's not bureaucracy. It's something that we just want the whole town to know that we're proud of. Next slide. So, the recommendation, what am I asking? Staff has done the work. Staff has aligned unanimously around CAPE. Tonight, I just want to respectfully recommend that council formally adopt CAPE as the Town of Cape Charles organizational values framework. So if you look to your resolution, I'd like to read the resolution to you. This is a resolution adopting the Cape Charles framework for the Town of Cape Charles, where I take it you normally do this, don't
Yes.
you, Mayor? So
Well, I don't have the entire, because I would forego the reading. Unless,
I think it's more formal for you to do it.
there you go.
That's right.
So you're not foregoing the reading.
No. Are you looking to do it now?
So right before you do it,
Okay.
I just want to thank you as we've been talking about this and building it, and as the staff has gotten lots of excitement as they're ready to. We want to brand it. We want to see posters go up, and it's going to take some time to do that. And they will all be individualized according to departments. So I think that it would be it'll say the same CAPE, but underneath it, it will define what that department does and how they live it out. And I think that's going to be another sense of pride for that department and each of our departments. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you for allowing me to share this. I would hope that you embrace it the way we have. And is there any questions I have before you read the resolution? Okay,
In
great.
that case, do I hear a motion?
Do we have to read it first?
No.
or-
You can just make the motion, and I'll read it.
I move that we adopt the resolution 202-60219.
A,
of
A, 9A.
put an A on it. It's not on there. Yep.
the- A, thank you.
You're welcome.
With adoption of the town of Cape Charles, Cape Values Framework.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? All right, not hearing any, I move for adoption of Resolution 202602219A, adoption of the Town Council Cape Charles Values Framework, and a resolution adopting the Cape Values Framework for the Town of Cape Charles, whereas the Town of Cape Charles is committed to ethical governance, responsive public service, and professional municipal operations, and whereas shared organizational values help promote consistency, accountability, transparency, and public trust across town government, and whereas the town leadership has identified the Cape Value Framework as a clear and meaningful reflection of how the town leads, serves, and engages with community, and whereas Cape represents the principles of community engagement, accountability, professionalism, and excellence, which align with the character, history, and future direction of Cape Charles, and whereas the Cape Value Framework is intended to guide internal culture, decision-making, and service delivery across all town departments while complementing, not replacing, existing laws, policies, and procedures. Now therefore be it resolved by the Town Council of Cape Charles, Virginia, that the Town Council hereby adopts Cape as the official organizational values framework of the Town of Cape Charles. Community engagement, accountability, professionalism, excellence. The Cape values shall guide how town staff carry out their responsibilities, interact with the public, support one another, and implement county council policy. The town manager is directed to integrate the Cape values into department operations, staff onboarding, internal communications, and organizational practices and as appropriate. Be it therefore resolved that this framework reflects the town's commitment to leadership, stewardship, and continuous improvement in service to Cape Charles community. Adopted by the Town Council of Town of Cape Charles on February 19th, 2026. And this is a roll call vote. Ashworth.
Yes.
Buckholz.
Yes.
Luda.
Yes.
Grossman.
Yes.
Holloway.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries.
Yay.
Congratulations.
You guys did a great job. So exciting to see.
All right, moving on. Letter F. Precious metals and gemstones permit, fee, and process.
Where did
I
this?
am proud to be the first staff member to come before you with my cape on.
Exactly. And you really do have it on
Here we
tonight.
go, here we go.
Lovely.
So what I didn't know is that there was a lot involved with buying and selling gold and precious metals and gemstones, but I now know there is. And we did have a section in our business license, part of the code, that allowed for it, but didn't give us a mechanism. So I'd like for you to consider allowing us to have a new permit for the sale for those two precious metals and gemstones, as well as a fee to go with that. I've looked at other communities, and here on the shore, one community is charging $200 for the first year and then $200 for annual renewals. I think we did most of the work in researching it and getting it straight for the first year, so $200 seems reasonable to me. But I would recommend reducing that to $100 for subsequent years. So I present that to you for your consideration. And Chief is well aware of the added responsibilities for this type of business.
How'd this come about?
We have a retail store that has
Yeah,
a pop-up.
Oh, pop-up.
Yeah. which-
Pop-up gold and
Yeah, so-
gemstone sales.
An itinerant merchant will come and be within their store.
Yeah.
and they will be buying and selling precious metals and gemstones.
So it doesn't apply to like Moonrise?
That is Moon, it is Moon.
She's doing the pop-up herself?
She's
She
doing the
has-
pop-up herself.
She has a partner
Gotcha.
that she brings in.
Yeah.
yeah.
Gotcha, okay.
This is over and above a regular business license?
It is, yes.
Okay.
So in this case, the retail store operator has a business license. They will also get a permit if they themselves are going to be dealing in these things. The merchant that's coming, the itinerant merchant, will have an itinerant merchant's peddler's license with us, as well as a service fee for this special permit. So it's a lot of paperwork, a whole lot. But it's a highly regulated
It is, yeah.
business area,
get
I
it done.
guess. There's some things that could go wrong.
Do I hear a motion for adoption?
I'll make a motion, Mr. Mayor, that we adopt the 2026 application for permit for dealers in precious metals and gems as indicated in our staff report, and establish a fee structure where, as we have an initial payment application of $200 and an annual renewal of $100.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No, that motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Oh, so it was a resolution. Yeah.
Or whatever the motion.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey,
All
wow.
right.
We're done.
Mr. Town Manager.
Great, so, just to bring your attention on a couple items, let me get my stuff together. So, today, I had a great meeting with, Ricky Wyatt with, the beachfront master plan. He was in town, so we talked, and he would like to bring forth the final beachfront master plan to you all March 19th. So that is, he's going to present the final plan, and then would like for you guys to approve it. And then he would also like to discuss next steps with you. So we did amend his contract in order to go after the RTA grant. We still have not heard back from them. And so we amended his contract to do that grant, and it cost us about $5,000 for him to do that grant. So there are other grants that he could consider, but he can't move forward until he talks about next steps, and then you'd have to prove which grants and grant cycles that you would like to go after. So he would like to bring that to you on the 19th. If that would work with you all.
But we will get it in advance of him just not coming and presenting, and then we react. We'll get it,
We'll get a copy for your
yeah.
advance.
Because that,
Is that our regular meeting on the 9th?
yeah,
Yeah.
because that, we need some time to be able to
Yeah,
digest.
you need the public to be able
Public,
to see.
and
what
public
they're
to
gonna
see
too.
it and do all of that, not just a presentation that night.
Surprise!
You'll be running that one. I won't be here.
All right.
Okay,
Fine.
yeah, absolutely. We have tried to change that for the
I
better.
know, yeah, and I wasn't suggest, this particular area just seems to always kind of run in that we get a presentation, and then I just want to
We
make
don't
sure.
want to
the
be
public-
blindsided. Yeah.
Yeah,
So you all have also received the manager's report, and we tried to update the projects. And so if there's any questions about the manager's report, please let me know while we're here. So we're still on pace on a lot of these projects. I did make a mistake on Bob's section, the fourth bullet. I mentioned Mason Avenue electrical upgrade project. That's incorrect. It's actually supposed to be the sidewalk infill. That's more specific, so I made an error and I wanted to let you know about that. I'm sure you didn't even notice it. So there was some great discussions last time that we had, and I brought this up about the budget calendar. So Mary and I have been working on it, but I wanted to, so she's going to share it, but I wanted to bring something back to you because we still feel a little unclear about it. And we want to make sure that we're doing what the council wants us to do when it comes to the organizations. And so we have some that we're trying to get away from what a grant is and what is a relationship that they have with the town that we have allocated already in our general budget, such as
Well, the
Main
whole stack.
Street,
Well,
the
they don't do it.
firefighters, Central Park, those kind of things. It's the other ones that are always a little difficult for us. And so we have something prepared that we're ready to send out to get it on the budget cycle. But we wanted also your last thoughts on this for direction.
It is. Oh, 3 documents.
Two documents.
One is a letter and the other is an application behind it.
Okay.
And then there's fiscal year budget calendar?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes. So we had some discussion last time, but as we began to go back, we still felt that we needed more clarity on this. So we'd like to know, do you still want us to send out a letter to organizations like we've done in the past, but I've had different direction along the path too. And so I know it creates a little bit of stir, but we just need to be clear on that direction. And so, because it sets up for, do we have a pot of money we're trying to get rid of? And we have needs also that we're also scaling back for our own needs. And we're trying to make sure that we balance that we're just not, we don't have money to give away.
We just gave it all to Bob.
Well, that would be an example. We have projects
Yes.
that
So-
it's always awkward.
I want to provide just a little bit of history from 2018 when I came on board, and I think Andy started, when I listened to the meeting the last time he started, he talked about this as well. We have worked from 2018 forward at removing these individual grants from organizations for a number of reasons. One, it was hard to consistently figure out the fairness of allocating them. What's more important than other? We just didn't feel that was how we should be using taxpayer dollars, and that's where we came up with the direction we've moved away from them. The bigger ones being allocations, not grants. So when you look at Central Park, Main Street, Fire Company, I'm going to exclude Art Center from that. I would also put in the Historic League. Now, that's an organization that, it's project specific, that we would fund. They would come with a
It's
project.
It's our capital project.
Right.
We're not giving them money.
Right.
They're
They're
not
part of
funding
that.
it. They're making suggestions.
But we've
that we
moved
go
away
with.
from, individual grants for organizations, and we've worked for years to get to that direction, and then somehow they got kind of spun around and got started again. And that's why our reaction was last year, like, whoa, wait a minute, where did these come back from? Because it set them up for, those organizations up for confusion. And what we try to do is send them to the resources that do exist. The tourism organization has a grant, the Northampton County Infrastructure has a grant program. So I would support us continuing down that path of just having organizations that we allocate to through our budget process and move them out of that little category so there's no more confusion. I mean, we've worked on it since 2018. That's a lot of years, right? That's 8 years.
So are you suggesting that those organizations that we allocate to don't have to go through any process whatsoever?
I don't think they go through what we call a grant process.
They don't go through any process.
I think they have to submit a budget request for what they want, just as they currently do. They're just not grants.
Well, okay, so, but last year, my recollection, it was my first year, some of these organizations that you're talking about that just get an allocation did fill an application out.
Right, but it's
Right?
just, it wouldn't be called a grant application. It's, so
You would still suggest that they fill out an application of some
Yes.
sort. I think so too.
Yeah, we
I
want to
would
know their
make-
budget and
Correct,
how they're
yes.
spending it, and we need to set parameters of what we want. Do we want them quarterly to submit XYZ? Yes, I
Okay,
completely.
good, that's-
And an annual presentation to us on, you gave us this amount of money, here's what you got for it.
Right,
Yes,
right,
right.
okay, good.
And whatever, and they may vary. Some organizations, we may want it more frequently than another, I think Main Street kind of does it quarterly, but the Firehouse has started to do that, which is great, but we don't have them do that because of their allocation, but I think it's healthy to do. But I think we need to get it cleaned up in the budget out of that that particular area. That just keeps getting confusion. And I think it's staffing changes and things like that. But why we got to this is that we felt like we were just really, how were we making decisions on if the Cape Charles Christian School or the YMCA or whatever got money? How do we decide that? If somebody wants to come to us with a request, sure, they can come, but that's not our priority. Our priority are our camp, capital improvement projects and our other budgetary items. And I just hate to see us go down that path, and then there's some organizations that didn't know they could come and ask for money. You know what I mean? It was just, it's so inconsistent. So that would be my personal recommendation. I know Andy, he's been along with me on that ride, and I probably Paul. 8 years worth. So
I understand that. I liked the grant process because it gave an opportunity for us to put some funding to some of those more altruistic ideals that we have in our comprehensive plan or strategic, things like when we said we want to encourage people to move here full time or encourage young families. Some of those things it's hard for us to do anything about, but it did give us an opportunity in the grant process to say we'd support the Christian school as under that umbrella. That's at least how I looked at it the first time through the process last year.
I think when we walked away, the Christian schools are a good example just because you get really fuzzy in the level of religion and money.
You can't.
I know.
You cannot
Right.
say no based
No.
on religion.
Right. And so the way we went with that Christian school is, and many of the other organizations, what can we do in kind with our services as a town? Can we support those efforts by things we do in kind, whether that's setting up the orange fence for Krabby Blues Festival? What are things that we can do that support those projects but are not allocation of tax dollar money toward one project more than the other?
This should have been brought up on unfinished business, by the way. We shouldn't be having this kind of discussion at the end of the meeting in our 5 minutes of conversation. I'm just saying.
Well,
'Cause
it's
we're
the
gonna go,
manager's
we can beat a dead horse on this one forever. I mean, that's how we've done it over the years. And I'm telling you, this is the third time this has come up.
Well, at least.
In 11 years for me.
Well, Rick still, and Marion still want direction from us though, so we need to.
We had the direction before, just what Tammy was saying. We've had direction.
Well, Andy,
Because one of the things, Citizens for Central Park, that's not just about the park. The park is they're putting concerts on for the entire town. It's an entire town thing that we sponsor,
Right.
and we're helping out with it. Main Street, they also do, not only do they do Main Street, they do all of our marketing, which is not part of Main Street. It's a whole different thing to it. The volunteer fire company, that's just given. An art center, that's a match to the state. We have to, we only give them, what was it?
4,000 or 5,000.
Yeah, and that's a matching grant. That's the reason we do that for them, because that's the only reason we do that one. It's the only one. And the rest of them, we just had to stop because we were giving thousands and thousands of dollars we did not have.
So then let's get rid of the grant process.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like that's the only option.
But it's just,
and then we have to kinda change.
it's not really a grant process. It's tagged under a grant, but it's not a grant.
Right, so if we get rid of the grant process and go back to what Tammy was saying is an allocation that, but we still, I still think it's important that they need to submit
Yes.
something.
They
An
do. They
application-
put budgets in.
I
We get a
think
budget
an
every year from them.
application makes sense. I think
Yes.
need
We just
to
don't
hear
call it a
not-
grant application.
Right.
It's,
We need to hear not just
they're
the budget,
submitting-
but what are you
right.
doing with the money? And
Right.
what have you done over the past 12 months?
Yeah.
I think that's really important.
Each one of them come in and say, well, Art Center doesn't, but each one of them come in and every year we get what they've done.
I think we have agreement.
Yeah.
So Paul?
Yeah, I'm-
Yeah, you've been on it
I'm with
for a
you,
while.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. So,
okay, so just for clarity, 'cause I know Andy stepped out for a
Yeah.
second.
Couldn't wait.
We're ready to get the budget calendar together, but this was still hindering us potentially with inaccurate information. And we wanted to make sure we were hearing what the council intent
Yes.
was on this. So we will,
So I think we ask the organizations that we do allocations for to submit their budget request with, as they normally do, which is an explanation. I mean, it's a PowerPoint presentation. It's got everything like they normally do.
okay,
But it never made sense for them to have to fill out an application like this anyway, because it.
okay. So we will send this to
Well,
those.
but we've been putting those into our budget books.
Yeah,
Our
but to fill this
document.
particular one, like for the firehouse to fill this out, for Central Park to fill, it never made sense for them because they aren't this. But they do, yes, they do submit a budget, they submit what their goals are for the year, all of those things. It just doesn't fit this exactly, this
Okay,
particular.
in the form they be, but to me, I need it in my budget book.
Oh, yeah.
We hold them accountable.
Yes.
This is what you
Yes.
said, and this is
Yes.
what we gave.
Yes,
Absolutely. Well, then
Yeah.
they
Maybe
can
we
simplify it, simplify it.
Right.
And maybe we don't call it an application, but we get.
yeah. It's their,
I'd be happy to prepare a draft. of
Okay.
what you might be looking for.
That'd be great.
Review that.
I'd be glad to help. Yeah. Thank you.
And then we're just gonna get rid of grant application process
Yes.
altogether.
And we're gonna take it out of that line item in the budget, because that's why it gets confusing.
So are we gonna tell some of these organizations who have received grants from us in the past?
They haven't in a good long time.
It's been a while for them, so there shouldn't be other.
There were some last year. I know
There
we
were,
gave
and we
grants.
told
I mean,
them-
I think, did we tell them last year, this is it, no more?
We didn't
I
fund
think
some
so.
things last year.
Pardon?
We didn't fund many of them last year.
No, but those that we funded last year,
The only one I could think of that we funded was YMCA, maybe.
no, we did the Christian school
For what?
for Krabby Blues. I know we gave.
I
them
thought we did it in
$1,000
kind.
maybe.
I think we can kind.
I thought we
No,
did in
ended
kind.
up giving them money. Yep, we gave
Museum got 1,000 for the book
Yeah.
portion.
Oh, for the,
That's right.
for the Sailfest piece of it, yeah. Yeah.
So do we just go back and say, we're moving in a different direction and we're no longer accepting, I mean, I think we owe it to those community groups.
Well,
that
and I
are-
think we point them to the directions that they can get the money, which is,
Some
I
other
have,
grants.
you know, I have 2 places that they can go for those, that they currently don't apply for, most of those groups.
And just for extra clarity, when an organization does come throughout the year, you know, that was kind of like we don't want to do that again and bring it back. That's for us to talk and try to direct them in another path.
Yep.
Is that still
Yes.
the same?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, that's all I have.
That's it.
Well, let me just, with regards to the items tonight, you had pulling a group together with regards to the fire
Yeah.
department and county, that's you
Yes.
now, right?
Yeah.
And then the other one is Myrtle Landing.
Yes.
You're following up with the submittal that you were given, or we were given.
Yeah, I did not receive one, but I will follow up with it.
I'll give you a copy.
Okay. Yeah, I will talk to some of our department heads and figure out what this is.
And I had, we need to get on our calendar of priorities. We normally do a reevaluation of our priorities mid-year. And
Well,
we're,
we got our strategic plan.
Right.
Meeting.
yes. So that needs to be one of the items that we, because we need to do that
Right.
at that then,
Right.
just
Yeah,
to make sure.
we're planning on doing that.
Okay,
28.
okay. All right, good,
So it'll be me, Katie, and Bob. We're gonna be facilitating that.
okay.
Great, thank you. Anybody else?
I won't go blow by blow on state bills that are tied to some of the things that we have, but it's an interesting environment there in Richmond, and the House is heavily Democratic now, and they're pushing a lot through, and it has potential for impacts in our area. Now it's in the Senate where it's a little bit more balanced on some of those housing bills. And we'll see if we get some of them pushed back. But it's again, trying to remove local control and
Yeah,
dictate from a state level. That's kind of the flavor on many of these items.
Well, it's a disaster waiting to
This
happen.
session. That's all I have.
All right.
so Monday,
so-
we are hosting at the Impact Center the first time the Tourism Summit. is actually here, so it's super, super exciting. Have over 130 people that are scheduled to be here. Adam, I have to talk to you about something on that I neglected to talk to you about. But we're super excited. If those of you who may recall, John Schallert, who spoke when we first kicked off Main Street, but was here for the summit probably about 3 or 4 years ago, is back. And he is fabulous, so.
He also did about 8 years ago, too.
2017 is when he was here for Main Street, before we even got, before we were even a glimmer of an idea, he kicked things off, so.
Right in this
Yep.
building.
Yep.
April
Shit, that's 9
4th,
years
the
ago.
Northampton County Job Fair will be held at the Impact Center. That'll be from 9:30 to 1 o'clock. We still have tables available for any employers who are seeking employees. We're looking for whether it's seasonal or year-round jobs, part-time, full-time. So this will be, as I said, the 6th year we've run this, and so that should be going out in the papers shortly. So folks who are looking either to find employees or to look for a job, we'd like to see everybody there.
All right, guys, and this Saturday, is it this Saturday?
Yes.
This Saturday at 11 a.m., there's going to be a celebration of life for Trish Bell at the Cape Charles Fire Department, I believe.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
So 11 o'clock, all are welcome, and lunch will be provided. It's a pretty big hit to the community, so was not expecting that one.
I have something.
Go right ahead.
Thank you. This past week, the Sailfest Planning Committee had an event where we invited local businesses to come and gave an update on everything that's going on with the Sailfest planning. We're 3 months out, really, 3 planning months out, so there's a lot happening. And I would encourage you to go to sailfestcapecharles.com and really see a lot of the stuff that's happening and being planned. It's going to be fantastic.
And please, if you see it, like it, share it.
Yes.
Let's get it out there. Also, we'll stay on the note of the fire. The Bakers also put it out there for the 7th of March. They are going to be having a benefit for the firefighters of Cape Charles and the volunteer station. That will be at the Coach House. It will be open to all, so you will be able to get through the gates to go to that. You can RSVP on, I believe, Facebook. I don't know if it's anywhere else.
It's on Eventbrite, but
Okay.
I believe you have to RSVP.
You have to RSVP, that is correct. Couple other announcements, February 28th, as we talked about, the strategic planning session, 9 to 1. Are we still location to be determined, or are we doing it at the Y?
No, we're going to do it at the Fellowship Hall at the town.
Okay, so at the Fellowship Hall. March 5th, Town Council special meeting. March 19th is the Town Council regular meeting. And then March 21st is going to be Cape Charles Day. So again, if you see that, share that as well. Let's get out there and, no, we don't really have to clean it up too much, but we'll get the trees trimmed and everything else, because we have a pretty clean town. So that being said, do I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned for this meeting.
Yeah.
I couldn't wait.
I was going to say, if anybody,
Where we are. With where we are, you brought an idea to us. Are you okay with? Yes. Well, you presented something to us, asking us to do something. Yes. Did you hear what we've directed town manager and staff to address those concerns? I just want to make sure that